icon, and welcome back to the Mindset Magic and Manifestation podcast with your girl. It is I, the Michaela J, here to teach you how to manifest your next level looks life. Happy Wednesday. We're drinking coffee out of a wine glass because it is the vibe and we must set the tone in my little Ralph Lauren sweater under my heated blanket. If you know, you know. Happy Wednesday. Today I'm feeling a little ranty, okay? So bear with me because I have had so many thoughts in my mind recently that I think people need to talk more about. And just that I feel like I need to get off my chest. So lock in, buckle in. Happy Wednesday. It's a rant with Michaela type of episode. I want to talk about what happens when you raise the bar for yourself. And when you really start to go for it, what you start to notice in people. So I have been thinking about this a lot recently. I'm like locking in, moving around a lot if you're watching the video. Just wanting to get comfy as we talk about this. So I saw a video a couple of weeks ago talking about it was this guy, he was filming in his car and he was like, you guys, it is so weird how when you decide to really go for it and go create generational wealth, how quickly you see other people around you not taking that seriously. And he was like, there's actually like practically so few people in life that care about creating generational wealth. And I thought that was so interesting. And he started talking about a couple of examples and he was like, none of my friends want to talk about investing. None of my friends want to talk about real estate. They don't want to talk about money. They don't want to talk about going and making more money. They care more about like, what are their plans over the weekend and, you know, whatever's just going on in their immediate life. There's no like long-term thinking. And so many people in the comments were relating to this. And I found that so fascinating because I never really thought about it from that perspective. And one thing that I've been thinking a lot more about recently is the idea of manifesting generational wealth. Somebody that I follow online that I really love, her name is Shelby Sapp. She teaches sales, being a closer in high ticket sales for girls who want to work online. Very different business model than mine, but I just really love her content. And her fiance just bought this like $7 million mansion in Maryland. And it is sick as fuck, you guys. Like straight out of a movie. It is like her backyard has these like two like spiral looking staircases, a massive pool, hot tub that's like built in, overlooking the ocean. It's just like so gorgeous, so gorgeous. And she always jokes about like she wants to have a family, and she always jokes about her future kids having mommy's money and how she's like always had this vision of generational wealth. And I think for me, for a really long time, like I always knew that I wanted to be rich. I always knew that I wanted to have a lot of money because I wanted to have freedom and I wanted to have like a nice life, like nice things. I love living in a luxury home. Like our home is way bigger space than we quote unquote need, but like I don't do anything based off of need. I always wanted to live somewhere with indoor, outdoor living space, which is what we have at our house. Now, I always wanted to live a life where I could travel whenever I wanted and, you know, stay at the luxury hotels I love and travel first class and have really nice clothes and a nice quality. Like I love that type of thing. I love convenience and I love quality. So it's like, okay, well, I want to be rich because I want to live this type of lifestyle. And then seeing her stuff and her talking about generational wealth and then seeing this guy talking about it, I'm like, oh yeah, that's actually like where you kind of start to expand that vision is where it's been expanded for me. And I'm coming from an interesting perspective as somebody who doesn't necessarily want to have kids. So I think I've talked about this before on the podcast, but I've never really been a kids person personally. I didn't really grow up around them. So kids kind of weird me out. I don't really know how to interact with them. I'm like such a dog mom. I'm like, I don't know what to do with like a small child. And also I just feel like with kids, I know how impressionable they are. So like if I was a parent, I would be like, I want to make sure I'm putting the best beliefs into their little brains, which I think those types of people make the best parents too. So, which I could always change my mind and like, you know, whatever. But because of that perspective I've had for a really long time around kids, I never really thought about generational wealth because I'm like, I don't think there's going to be a generation after me. Like I said, that could change, but just in general. And so, yeah, I never thought like that big with generational wealth kind of vibes. But after seeing that video and thinking about that and thinking about this massive mansion that Shelby bought and how incredible that is and really like that type of property is a generational wealth. property. And as I have gotten more into like the investing side of things, how I would love to start getting into real estate this year, like real estate investing, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, this really is setting me up for generational wealth. And that's like such an interesting experience. And if this is something you guys want to keep talking about in the podcast, like let me know in the comments of this episode of like, yes, like let's go there. Let's talk about it. Like, let's talk about the technical things, the mindset side of it. Like what's the practical action steps to manifest something like that? I would love to take you along the process with it too. But anyways, back to this video. Okay. So this guy talked about how nobody is doing that around him. And it made me think, I'm like, yeah, that's actually so true. There's so few people that I personally know that are really going for it at that level. Like I will talk to people and they will be wanting, like being excited about getting a raise or getting a certain bonus, or be excited about, I don't know, their partner getting a certain job, or being excited about the new place that they're moving into. But it's not the same as like thinking about building generational wealth. And I was like, that's so fascinating. And I've been having some conversations with people recently. I've been like, hey, are you interested long-term in like getting into real estate, getting into investments? And most of the people that I talk to literally say no. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? There's everybody is different. Okay. Not that you need to do it this way, but like, to me, like you need to have some sort of game plan to like go get that money, honey. And I guess if you're not motivated to go create generational wealth or a lot of wealth, then that's fine. But I just don't, my brain doesn't work like that. I'm like, I set really big goals. And so I'm like, how the fuck am I going to go make this happen? Oh, okay. Real estate, investing, private equity. Like I think about all of these other things. Like having the business is a great way to manifest money, right? We talk about social media as your money manifestation machine, but then what are you going to do after that to have the money make you more money? And for me to the idea of not thinking about making like F it levels of money, generational wealth, like not thinking about that at all is really mind blowing. But that is what happens, which is the whole point of this episode. That's what happens when you raise the bar for yourself. That's what happens when you decide, like, I'm going to go live a life that is so different than everybody else around me. I'm going to go create a level of wealth that's like so unrelatable. This is what happens. You start to notice people around you don't talk about these things. They don't even think about them. And it doesn't make me better than these other people. It's just a different way of thinking. That's all that it is. Same thing for you and the people you're around. It doesn't make us better than one another. It's just, we're just different. And I am just noticing where I'm like, my brain cannot fathom that. Like where there's not a long-term game plan of what to do to go live a certain life. Like that is so confusing to me. It truly is. So I've been thinking about this a lot lately since that video. And I challenge you guys to think about this yourselves. Like when you think about the people around you, like are the conversations about making more money? Are the conversations about setting yourself up for your financial future, setting yourself up for success, even on a day-to-day basis with your normal habits, like setting yourself up for success in your business, with your health, like in your life, like managing your actual lifestyle? So few people are actually fucking doing this. And I think it's just reawakened that realization in me. I think there's a statistic that I looked up a long time ago that was like, only 20% of the population is self-aware. And that is also fucking mind-blowing to me because I'm like, what the fuck? How are you not self-aware? But I say that, but I also know how because I was that person. I used to be a person who was not self-aware. But even when I wasn't like self-aware, like oh my gosh, I think back to when right before my personal development journey, I was like such a pessimist. I was like queen of victimhood mode. And when I think about the old version of me, I was just a complainer. I was so unhappy all the time. I had no energy. Like I was just such a different version of myself. And then I became aware of my thoughts and how they were impacting me. So I do understand the aspect of being unaware. It was mainly because nobody around me nobody else was aware. Like nobody else cared about what their thoughts were and what was on their mind and like how to be better in your mind. But I'm not kidding. Even then, I was always thinking about a path to go get rich, to go be wealthy, to go acquire money, to afford the lifestyle that I want to live. And, maybe that's part of it. Maybe a lot of people don't think about a certain lifestyle that they want to live. They think that maybe it's unattainable right away. But even before the mindset work and even before my personal development journey and before my businesses, it was like, no, I want to go get rich. So for a long time, it was like, I knew that I was going to go to college. I was going to then get my master's. I was actually going to get my PhD in fashion social media, which is a thing, surprisingly. You get it in Paris. And then I'm not kidding you. I wanted to become the CEO of Louis Vuitton. Like, I'm not joking. That was literally my game plan. I knew I had decided early on, I'm like, okay, I'm going to become a YouTuber in the process. Like, I had like these influencer dreams for a long time before I knew I wanted to do the business route. And even then, I bought books on investing. Even back then, I thought about how people have rental properties and how you can rent out houses. I actually knew somebody in college. You guys, this is a ranty type episode, okay? So I hope you love this because I'm just like rambling it out today. I knew somebody in college that I went to high school with, and his parents bought a house in our college town. And him and like, I don't know, I think like 4 friends. At one point, there was like 6 people living in that house, but mainly like him and like 4 other people were in this house, and all of his friends were paying rent, and the friends were paying the rent that was going towards the mortgage. So that by the time that he finished college, the house was like fully paid off. And I don't know if his parents ended up gifting him the house or if they kept the house, or, you know, I don't know what the logistics were of that, but I was like, oh my gosh, like his parents are probably making bank having all of these college kids still pay low rent, but it's probably still covering the mortgage and then some. I'm like, this guy is literally capitalizing on his friends living in the house with him. I'm like, that's fucking genius. Like, I'm like, dang, his parents are so smart. But it's like, even before I was in the personal development journey in the business space, I was always thinking about like, how am I going to make money? How am I going to make more money? How am I really going to like go for it in my life so I can go live this life that I want? And when you set the bar high for yourself, you immediately start to notice where people fall short of that. And that this is one of those realizations, one of those moments where you realize so many people around you fall short of the standards. But these are just standards we set for ourselves. And I like to say, like, once you raise the bar, people's hands start slipping. I think about gymnastics, right? You chalk your hands up and you get on the little gymnastics bar. I don't know what they call it. And once you raise the bar, people's hands start slipping off. And recently, especially after that generational wealth video where like nobody is taking this seriously, I was like really thinking about it. I was like, maybe I need to take it even more seriously, actually. It was something that I thought to myself. But then I saw another video of this girl talking about how she's really like set herself up for success financially long term because every year she has bought one new asset of some sort, whether that was an apartment, whether that was a house, whether that was a condo or a multifamily home or like some form of asset that she could then rent out every single year. I think when she was starting when she was like 25 years old. And I was like, that's fucking genius. But this is the cool thing about our brains and the reticular activating system, which is a part of the brain that starts to scan your reality to prove everything you're thinking right. It starts to scan your reality for the evidence that you're looking for, which is why having a positive mindset is so important. Because if you're negative, if you're constantly doubting yourself, you're literally training your brain to look for all of the evidence as to why you should continue doubting yourself, as to like how it's not working, how the results aren't showing up. But when you're over here on the positive side and you're like, yes, I can do this and it's working and it's adding up and it's compounding, your brain is scanning your reality for that. So I saw the generational wealth video and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so true with people in my life. Like, oh my gosh, this is actually a sign to me that I should double down on this even more. Like if people in my life this is actually how my brain works. I'm like, if people in my life aren't taking something seriously or aren't doing something, I take myself as the leader and I'm like, let me go lead the pack. Like, let me lead the way. And that's just how I do things. Like I've always been that type of person. So I was like, oh, maybe I need to double down on this even more. And then once you decide that, your brain starts scanning for new resources. Your brain starts scanning for evidence of how you can make this work in your life and new things you can do and new pathways you can open up to get to where you want to go. So then I saw another video about the girl who was acquiring an asset every single year. And I was like, oh my gosh, I should start doing that. So I went through that whole process and then I was like, okay, I'm ready to take my life to the next level in general. Like, okay, I really want want to double down and get even more serious on my goals and like what I'm doing here and how I'm building my life. And I raised my standards, right? Like raised my standards in the way where I like scanned my life and I looked for all of the distractions. I looked for all of the habits. I ask my clients this a lot. It's like, if I was a fly on your wall, what would you want me to not see in your life? And so I was like looking at that for myself. It's like, if there was a reality show or a reality TV crew following me around all the time, like what would I want to change or what would I want not depicted about me? And then I go and I make those changes. And I really take my life so fucking seriously. And not that I'm serious all the time. I'm actually a very, very silly person. If you've ever been on any of my live streams or my trainings, like I laugh all the time. I say silly shit. Like I played Russian rap music on my last master class. Like I'm a very like silly person. I like to think that I'm actually hilarious. But what I mean by I take my life seriously is like, this isn't a fucking joke to me. Like I get to live one life as this version of Michaela, and I'm going to take that seriously. And I'm going to do everything in my power to really go and make it. I'm going to do everything in my power to really make it as big as I possibly can. And when you decide to go win at an even bigger level, people fall short. People fall short because it's very, very rare that somebody decides to commit this big in their life. And that's where most people struggle. You know, I am somebody who is very naturally independent. I'm an extroverted introvert, so I can talk all day, but I definitely recharge on my own. Since I lived alone at a young age, I just learned how to be independent very early on. And so I'm okay with people not matching that energy. But at the same time, you also have to go and find those people. And I think where most of you get bogged down is you don't have these people immediately in your space to cheer you on when you're raising your standards. And a lot of people like love I hear people talk about this all the time. They need accountability. I never really resonated with that. I'm somebody who's like, if I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to go fucking do it. I actually don't like when somebody is like following up with me about something. I'm like, I'm going to get to it. Like I'm on top of it. I don't need a daily check-in to like get my workouts in. I don't need to like text a friend to stay accountable to do my 6 workouts a week. Like I actively want to go do this type of stuff. But a lot of people want that accountability. And it's a very smart and easy way to create change in your life if you're somebody who hasn't been the most accountable. So I totally understand the logic. But when people aren't around you that are taking their life seriously, that are taking things to the next level, that are pursuing things other people aren't pursuing, you let it make you drop the ball. Like your hands start to slip. You raise the bar and then it starts slipping because you don't have this type of energy in your life every single day. Now you could if you're one of my one-on-one clients, right? But where we are talking every day in Telegram, but it's like you start to let your hands slip when you raise the bar yourself because people around you aren't doing it with you. That's where you really have to have this lesson in leadership of like, I am that one that goes first. Like that's truly how I feel. I'm like, okay, well, let me double down on this. Let me go set the example. And that's really what my entire life has been, which is interesting and how I kind of got into this business. You know, I remember taking this influencer program a long time ago before I started my business, like when I was just blogging and posting on YouTube. And they asked us, they were like, well, find your like top traits and how you help people the most. I think it was like a how to niche down a topic or module or something. And I remember like asking all of my friends like what they love most about me or what's special about me or what they think of when they think of me or whatever the questions were inside of the program. And I've always been the leader. They're like, you just go after what you want so fearlessly. Like you're the person we go to for advice because you just go and you do it all. Like I am somebody who is a trendsetter and you resonate with that too. Like if you didn't resonate with that, you most likely would not be here because we're just fucking crazy and we just go and do shit. But you're probably the person in your life that everybody comes to that's always going for it, that's not making the excuses. It's like, oh, nobody's doing this, I'm going to go do it. They didn't figure it out, I'm going to figure it out. And so I felt this way about the generational wealth concept. And it just had reiterated to me like how few people in life are actually going for it and how it's really important that you don't let that impact you going for it. You don't need accountability. You don't need all of these people around you to cheer you on. Like I built my business for years living in Nebraska when nobody really got it. Like I ended up probably a year and a half in, I had a couple people like me, like a couple as in like literally like 2 or 3 people that I could talk to about mindset and spirituality, but they still didn't really like get it with me with the business. And that didn't matter to me. I didn't need people to get it for me to go places. I didn't need people around me to understand for me to go make 6 figures my first year. I didn't even need my partner at the time to fucking understand. And like they weren't even holding standards in their life. Like I didn't need any of that. I needed myself to go lead the way because I'm going to lead the way and I'm going to master it and then I'm going to teach it. And that's exactly what ended up birthing my business. And you need to remember that a lot of times you are the one that goes first. You're the one who changes your mindset first in your family. You're the one, for some of us, who moves out of the state first. Like I was the first person in my immediate family to like ever leave Nebraska. It was like, you have to be that person that's willing to break the patterns and break what your family has been doing and break the norm and go do things that are crazy. Go make big money. Like people will say like, oh, I'm the first millionaire in my family. Go do that. Go become that. Don't let the fact that other people around you aren't doing it stop you. And I think one thing that really helped me on my journey, since I didn't have those people around, is I went and I got in the room physically. I went to places where there were people like that in the room so I could have these conversations because it kept me going, right? It's so easy to be around your normal people. And if they're not prioritizing something, for you to not, right? That's the accountability piece. And for me, it's like, I didn't care what anybody else was doing. I cared what I was doing personally. I've always been really good at just staying in my lane and like focusing on my shit. And if somebody else is doing something completely different, then like that's on them. But it's so motivating to get to be in these conversations and like be around people that also focus on this because the feeling is like validating, but like I don't really resonate with like external validation. It's just like, oh my gosh, you get me. And this is exciting. And like, let's riff on this. Let's talk about that. And now my husband's very much so on the same wavelength as me. So like we talk about it. But back then when I didn't have a partner like that, when I didn't have friends that got it where I could have these conversations, I went and I physically got in the room. I signed up for retreats. I signed up for VIP weekends. I went to in-person mastermind events. I went to networking events that were specific to people that were interested in stuff like this. I went to conferences. I did one-on-one stuff in person. Like I got in the room and that changed my life because again, most people are not fucking going for it. Most people are, like I've said this before and I've said this a lot lately, like most people are barely fucking trying. And I have just really seen that a lot lately. And I'm sure you've seen that a lot in your normal everyday life. It's like people are not really going for it in the way that they could be. And when you raise the bar for yourself and you start to really go for it, again, you see where people fall short of that, where it's like, oh my gosh, like if you just applied yourself like 1% more, your life would be completely different. And that can feel negative, but it's really the reality of the situation. And that's what makes you so different. That's what makes you a winner. Like not everybody is a star player for a reason. That's why I love traveling so much. And one thing that's really helped me in my journey is like going on trips. You know, I kind of call it my spiritual awakening. When I started to go on this personal development journey, it happened because I studied abroad. I really had my rock bottom moment when I was still back home and I was like, something's got to change. It's got to start with me. But then when I was in France and my study abroad, that's what changed everything for me. Like being in a new environment, like being positive, being around people as the new version of myself really helped solidify that. And every time I would go to a retreat or a mastermind weekend or a conference, like during my journey building this business, I felt the same way. It felt like a new quantum leap. I actually, when I was in Canada with my bestie 2 weekends ago, I bought a journal while I was there and I was writing in it on the plane on the way home. And I wrote back I literally wrote, how is it that every trip I go on, I come home feeling like a completely different person? And that's true. Like that's genuinely what I was feeling on the plane. I'm like, every time I come home, I'm literally a brand new bitch. It's so crazy because when you travel, you're also reminded of how big you want to go. When I travel, I think, man, I would love to be on a private jet again. Every time I'm like, oh, the private jet experience, man, I would love that. Like, man, I would love to book the penthouse suite at this hotel that I love. Man, I would love to have a private driver pick us up in a blacked out Escalade. Man, I would love to, get some like beautiful Dior luggage or something. Or like, man, I would love to like go do that. And just like the level of luxury and accessibility and wealth. And I would just like, yes. It just reminds me of where I'm going and like why I'm doing it and like what I love and what drives me, what makes me passionate. Like travel is so expansive for me. It's just something that always has been that way. It brings out the best version of me where I'm like, yes, let's do this. And I'm just in the best mood every time. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I could have real estate in Canada, and then I could buy a villa in Bali, and I could have an apartment that I turn to an Airbnb in Paris, and like then I could have homes all over the US. Like this is the way that I start to think when I travel. And then I think about who I want to be on every trip that I go on. And it was the same thing for all of the events that I have been to during my career, like business events. Like who do I want to be when I show up? Like what kind of connections do I want to make with the people in the room? Like how, and genuinely, this has been my mindset for a lot of events I go to, is like, how can I pour so much value into the other attendees? That is how you make actual connections. That's how you make real networking connections with people. Is like, you're not there to get something from somebody. You're there to pour into people, and they're there to pour into you, and everything becomes mutually beneficial. And then you're like, you get me, I get you, you're pouring into me, I'm pouring into you. Like, this is amazing. This is a great relationship. Like, let's work together. Let's do this. Let's do that. And it's like, I always thought about pouring into other people. What do I want to give? How do I want to show up? Who do I want to show up as? Like, what do I want to get out of this? Like the experience and travel. And that's why I'm so excited to host Rich Girl Renaissance live in September, my content conference, because I'm like, when you get into that physical room with people that are actually going for it, people that raise the bar and they don't fall off, people that raise the bar and they get tougher and they hold tighter and they swing harder to get over the bar, or whatever gymnastics example I'm putting together here, like that changes you. You think about, okay, in September, you get your ticket now, you think in September, who do I want to be? Like, where do I want my business to be at? Like, setting these types of intentions is so powerful. And that's what I did. Anytime I signed up for something where the event was so far away, like I think the event that I went to in November, I bought my ticket, oh my gosh, in the summer or something. It was like 6 months out or something. And so it was like, okay, I'm 6 months out. Like, who do I want to be in 6 months? Where do I want my business to be at in 6 months? Like, what kind of content do I want to be creating in 6 months? Like, what do I want this to look like and that? And like, what kind of people do I want to meet? And who do I want to network with? And all of these different questions, that is a manifestation practice in and of itself. And so then when you actually go and you get to Rich Girl Renaissance and it's September, like you are going to be like 7 evolutions of yourself ahead, like manifesting all of these insane things in a completely different life, because you took it seriously and you raised the bar for yourself. You showed up for yourself. Like having that event booked, planned, having your ticket, not I'm going to buy my ticket, but having your ticket, having that solidified, it makes you take things more seriously. That's what will hold you accountable. You don't need people to hold you accountable. You need something to hold you accountable. And that's actually probably what did it for me. It was like anytime, almost every single year of my business, I've gone to some sort of event. I think the only time that I didn't go to an event was in 2022. I mean, that was the only year that I didn't attend anything in person. And outside of that, and what was I doing in 2022? I met my husband. So that was cool. And I was just traveling a lot for fun that year and didn't do any events. But every other year, I've gone to an event for my business, and that's what keeps me accountable. I'm like, okay, I want my business to be here. I want it to be here. I want it to be here. And that's what it looks like, raising the bar for yourself. So few people are doing that. Most people are just rinse and repeating the same results in their life. They're yo-yoing between the same fucking habits all over again, and they don't change that much. They're not evolving, and that makes me feel unwell to think about. Like any area of my life that I feel like that's happening, I'm like, this has got to change immediately. I would never want to be in a life where I'm working a 9-to-5 job, for example, and I'm like, ooh, I wonder in 10 years, like what my Christmas bonus is going to look like. How scary that like the main thing you look forward to year after year after year after year is a bonus that you have no control over. Like I much rather have a coffee or have a conversation with you and you'd be like, oh my God, in 10 years, imagine what our fucking real estate portfolios are going to look like. In 10 years, imagine the stages that you will have spoke on. Imagine like where your podcast has gone. Imagine like you have 1,000 people in one of your programs. Like imagine you have these world-renowned events you do in person or like whatever it is. It's like, but so many people are just like thinking so small. So I would use this episode and like really sit down and challenge yourself to think big. Think about generational wealth. Think about, okay, like you want to get to a point where you're making so much money, you can go put that money somewhere. So that money is making you money. Like think bigger than just this year. I think this is the issue with a lot of people that want to, let's say you want to quit your job and work your business full time and like create content full time. Like you have to stop setting these bare minimum goals. Like you're like, okay, well, I just need to make enough to replace my income. Or like, okay, great. Well, then when I get this tax refund, I'll use that. And then at the end of the year, I'll get this bonus and then I'll stack that. And then I'll have this cushion. And then I get like, what the fuck? Like we need to go like 100 times bigger and 100 times harder. Like that is not going to cut it if you want this like crazy multi-million-dollar business. I've never made a plan for a safe path in my fucking life. Like I have just dreamed so big that it was literally overwhelming, because when it's overwhelming, you need to get in motion. You're like, I have no fucking clue how this is going to come together. So I better go do some shit today to move myself forward. But so many people are just thinking like stepping stones. Where are you step-stoning it in your life? Baby steps, one foot in front of the other. And it's like, yes, there are times when the action is the vision's so big, you don't know. So you just have to put one foot in front of the other. But the baby steps, the stepping stones that you're taking is like, well, let me get a raise. And then when I get the raise, then I will join this program. And then when I join the program, I will sell this program for $500. It's like baby steps. Like, why not go to the fucking moon? Why not quantum leap right now? When I launched my business, I was 20 years old. And my first program was over $2,000. Like I was not here to fuck around. Like I was here to do serious work and work my business full time and really show up and really go big. Like when I sat down the first month I started my business, I was already mapping out like, how am I going to make 10K a month? How many clients do I need to have? If I have a program that costs this much, even if every single person did the payment plan, like what's that going to look like? Like I was already going there. I was 20 years old. Like dream bigger. It's not normal because most people aren't doing it. But you have to be the leader. And when you decide to take this leadership role and you're like, I'm going to be the one that goes first, I'm going to be the one that creates the generational wealth, I'm going to be the one who's different, your life will look completely fucking different. And everybody around you is going to be asking you questions. They're going to want to know more. I've had friends being like, hey, when you start trading, can you trade for me? And it's like, people will start to ask, they will start to poke at it because you set a new example, you set a new standard. Now, will people be able to hold that standard? Most of them won't, because it takes a crazy fucking level of obsession to win this big, like crazy levels of obsession. Don't get that twisted. Everything can be very easy and very simple, but it's going to take hard work. Like you're going to work hard. Doesn't mean it's hard, but you are going to work hard. Okay. Can you hold those to be true at the same time? You're going to work. You're going to work your ass off, but it's going to be easier. It's going to be simple and you're going to get through it. Most people are just not willing to hold the standard. Most people struggle to hold a standard for themselves, to dream big for themselves, to believe in themselves big enough. That's why the mindset work comes in handy, but that we absolutely need the mindset work, because the reason why I can do all this and dream this big and think about generational wealth and think about an investment property every single year, I actually could say that. Get an asset every single year. Get a new investment property every single year. And some of you listening are immediately going to have a limiting belief around that, or some victimhood excuse of why you can't do that. Well, I don't make enough money for that. Well, I don't have good enough credit for that. Well, I don't know how to do that. Well, I don't have an LLC set up to write things off. Well, I don't have this and I don't even know where and all. I don't care about any of that. Like that's the difference. Is like all of the excuses, all the things you don't know, are things like a lot of things I don't know when it comes to that, but I just don't care. I'm willing to figure it out, and none of that matters to me. It's like, oh, okay, like an asset a year, to me, I'm like, that sounds doable. I'll figure that out. Okay, great. I'll get the help that I need. And I don't make excuses. But I was the same way at the beginning of my business, where I had no fucking money when I spent my last $300 to invest in my first business program. That was actually $8,000 that I had to pay off over 6 months. Like, that's the difference. If you want to live a really big life, you've got to play at a high level. You've got to raise the bar over and over and over again. You have to be okay with people's hands slipping off the bar. You have to be okay with not always having the accountability around you. And that's why we have coaching, right? Like DM me if you want one-to-one coaching. Like there are options for that. You have to put yourself in that room. Like I can't do it for you. It's like, okay, great. So if you don't have accountability, go find it. If you're not willing to find it, I don't know what to tell you. Go get in the physical room. Come to richgirlrenaissance.com Renaissance Live. Going to live events, meeting people in person changed my fucking life. I've met some of my best friends at live events because I just dared to get into the room and put myself in these types of conversations. Most people, if you raise the bar, they're actually going to discourage you. They're going to try and talk you down from it. They want to bring you down to their level, not to be rude and not because they don't want to see you win, but because they want to feel comfortable. And you have to fight that urge. You have to be the star player amongst the average many, amongst all of the amateurs. And you're going to see very quickly where a lot of people are not taking their life to the next level. And this is why I feel like people say like, it's lonely at the top. And I actually don't fucking agree with that at all. Like literally, I don't agree with that at all. But you do see how few people are actually going for it, that are actually applying themselves and are actually dreaming big. That is something you will see different, but it's not lonely. You go and you get yourself in the room. When people that say it's lonely at the top, they're making excuses. Like you could go find the people and not be lonely. Like truly, like I don't understand that. But this is what happens when you raise the bar for yourself, when you dream bigger. This is like the real ass conversation that not a lot of people are having. So you and I are having over a little coffee in a wine glass. I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts on this episode in the comments on Spotify. You can comment directly on this video or feel free to DM me over on Instagram and let me know what your thoughts are. Like this is such an important conversation and a good reminder for you to like go figure out where you can take your life to the next level. For me, it was like, ooh, okay, my next step in abundance mindset is generational wealth and like really taking things to that level. So even if that's a conversation you guys want to have on the podcast, like put in the comments, like generational wealth, tell me you want to hear more about that. And then I can podcast more about that as I'm building it and talking about this as well. But it's like, I want to hear your thoughts because people aren't going for it enough. And we need to be the ones to set that example and really, 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 really go for it and not put up with bullshit, not make excuses, not be a victim, not let anything externally dictate how your life's going to be, but the willingness to figure it out, the willingness to get into the room, the willingness to hold yourself accountable and show the fuck up. Okay, go get in the conversations you need to be in. This is exactly why you need to come to Rich Girl Renaissance Live. Okay, Dallas, Texas, my 4-day content conference for the woman who's ready to become a content millionaire. Because this is what I see for you and what I see for me. Social media is your new money manifestation machine. If you know how to use social media, you can make money on command. It's this new money manifestation where you're not just like waiting on a check on the mail. You're not just waiting for random financial news. You're not just like waiting for a random ass money win. You actually get to practically take action that's going to create a result for you so you can go and make money. You have more control over the situation and not in a way where you're like controlling and suffocating the universe, but in a way where it's like, no, if I'm going to go manifest some money, like let me go do that. Like let me go practically take the action on that. So social media is becoming your manifestation system. It's becoming your money manifestation machine. Then you're going to become the content millionaire. You're going to make millions through social media content, through your business. Any dream you have, any manifestation that's on your vision board, you can go open more doors towards that on social media. That is going to be the fastest way to achieve any of your goals. I don't care what they are. Using social media is going to get you there faster. And then you're going to make $1 million or millions plus. And then we're going to go create generational wealth. Now we have a new level of mindset work to do. Now we have a new level of learning to do. Now we have a new level of action taking to use that money to make you more money. And then you have ultimate freedom. Like that is the path that I see for you. That is what we are setting up and building for you, with you, alongside you at Rich Girl Renaissance Live, because this is all from your phone. Like you can do all of this right now. It's just most people aren't fucking going for it. Most people aren't even trying. Most people, like the bar is in hell. They like their standards are so low that if you just show up and you dream big and you dare big and you put yourself out there, you're gonna fucking win. If you do this mindset work and you stay the path, you're going to win. And then we're gonna be having a conversation in a private jet, drinking coffee out of Hermes fucking coffee mugs while we're talking about how we're donating millions to charities that we love. Like that's what happens when you take this work seriously now. So at Rich Girl Renaissance Live, I'm going to be teaching you how to master creating content on social media that sells, becoming a woman of influence that actually moves people to do things, to actually listen to you, to actually be somebody of influence and improve your life and your mindset and your identity so it's a match for the results you want. And that's just my segment. plus the speakers. It's going to be amazing. So the link to join Rich Girl Renaissance and get your ticket to Rich Girl Renaissance Live is going to be in the show notes of this. I can't wait to hear your thoughts from this episode, a little ranty about how people basically need to do better, do more, dream bigger, and how you need to go become the leader. All right. I'll talk to you next Wednesday.